If you are someone suffering from difficult to treat Western medical conditions, if you are someone with illnesses whose causes are unclear or if you are facing obstacles and difficulties in life, with problems that are truly hard to solve and untangle, then please try and experiment with a remedy, which is the Great Compassion Mantra. This clip is for those of you who are not yet aware of the power and the miraculous nature of the Great Compassion Mantra. It is for those of you who have a little faith in spirituality, or are on the path of exploring spiritual matters, or are looking for motivation to start your own practice, or are truly feeling stuck and have no other way to solve your personal difficulties. Then these clips are for you. In this clip, Ngọc Bảo will share about my process and experiences after a period of practice and reciting the Great Compassion Mantra. Ngọc Bảo hopes that through this sharing clip of mine will help strengthen the faith of all of you who have known about the Great Compassion Mantra but have not yet practiced it, as well as those who have not yet known about the Great Compassion Mantra. From there, you can gain more motivation to practice and achieve accomplishments, as well as experiences like Ngọc Bảo and many fellow practitioners and friends who have achieved the Great Compassion Mantra, which must be said to be an incredibly miraculous mantra. In fact, Ngọc Bảo truly could not imagine its miraculousness before practicing it. It was only when I personally encountered truly impermanent and difficult situations, not knowing where to turn, that I clearly felt the miraculous nature of the mantra. About 7 to 8 years ago, when Ngọc Bảo knew nothing about Buddhist practices or cultivation, that was the lowest point in Ngọc Bảo spirit. Nothing was going well, from work and relationships to health, especially health. I felt extremely weak, had no strength, and upon examination, I discovered I had uterine fibroids. Despite extensive treatment, taking both Western and Eastern medicine for about 2 years, each examination revealed not only that the fibroid hadn't shrunk, but also that a few more small fibroids had appeared nearby, meaning there were many tiny fibroids in the uterus. After about a year to a year and a half of treatment, I felt that my health was very poor, so I decided to purchase insurance from Dai-ichi Life. They conducted a health check to assess my condition, and after the evaluation, they informed me that they would not sell me insurance anymore. The reasons were, firstly, the presence of a uterine fibroid, and secondly, my liver enzyme levels were more than 10 times higher than normal. They said that with such indicators, I was close to cirrhosis, so they didn't want to take the risk and refused to sell me insurance. I continued treatment with traditional medicine. 6 months later, I approached Manulife and asked them to sell me insurance. After their health assessment, they agreed to insure me, but excluded all illnesses related to tumors and liver diseases. This situation clearly showed that my health was not good at that time, and I was beset by various ailments. I was truly exhausted from the treatments and felt disillusioned with work, relationships, and my health. Life seemed utterly meaningless. In that moment of despair, I went online to search for alternative treatments, including spiritual healing methods. By chance, while browsing, I came across an article about the power of the Great Compassion Mantra. At that point, after having tried all possible Western and Eastern medical treatments for about 2 years and having cured my tumor, I thought that perhaps this was a sign, so I decided to try and see how powerful the Great Compassion Mantra was. I read that the monks said the Great Compassion Mantra could cure over 84,000 illnesses in the world, provided that one is wholeheartedly dedicated. At that point, I felt like I had nothing to lose. I thought, why not give it a try? If it works, great. If not, then so be it. Things couldn't get any worse than they already were, so I printed out the Great Compassion Mantra and began practicing it. I followed the methods I had seen in a series of clips about the mantra. Every day, at a specific time, I would sit and recite the Great Compassion Mantra over a glass of water like this. Initially, I just had the intention to see if it would work. I recited the Great Compassion Mantra very slowly, enunciating each word carefully. I made a vow that if I recovered, I would dedicate much of my remaining time to sharing the knowledge of Buddhism and the Great Compassion Mantra with as many people as possible. I would use my time to help others. That was the vow I made. And Just like that, after exactly 2 months of practice, when I went for a checkup, my tumor was gone. Honestly, thinking back to that moment, I still feel very emotional. When I received the result that my tumor had completely disappeared within 2 months of reciting the Great Compassion Mantra, I was overwhelmed. For 2 years, I had tried every possible treatment without success, and my condition only worsened with more tiny tumors and additional illnesses. And from that point on, I felt, wow, why is there such a miraculous mantra, such a wondrous remedy? I began to delve deeper. I explored more about the Great Compassion Mantra, learned more about Buddhism, and studied other mantras as well. I practiced diligently, without skipping a single day, following the guidance of the teachers. Up to now, I have been reciting the Great Compassion Mantra for over 4 years. Just recently, I went for a health checkup to renew my Manulife insurance from 5 years ago. Another surprise came when, after the checkup, the insurance company called me to say congratulations because this time I was no longer excluded from any illnesses, whereas 5 years ago, my insurance excluded tumors and liver issues. They said that my liver enzyme levels were even better than those of a normal person. And Ngọc Bảo went for another test right after that to review the results and the indicators compared to when I was first diagnosed with liver disease. The liver indicators were indeed never as good as they are now. I've had hepatitis B since I was a child. My hepatitis B was in a dormant and inactive state. However, the liver enzyme levels were fluctuating around the regulatory limit. The limit is around 35-40, and mine was fluctuating around 28-30, 35-40. About 6 to 7 years ago, when I went for my first insurance checkup with Daiichi Life, the liver enzyme levels that were high, over 250, which was very high. And when I had a checkup with Manulife, the indicator was still at 80. And just recently, when Ngọc Bảo went for another checkup, that indicator was only around 12, 16. That's an indicator that Ngọc Bảo has never had since knowing I had hepatitis B from childhood until now. It's really very joyful because Bảo Hiệp also mentioned that it's quite rare for a previous contract just a few years ago to exclude a series of illnesses like this, and then in the renewed contract, nothing is excluded at all. And I feel that after receiving such results, I thought I had to immediately make this clip to share with you all, so that those of you who are exploring will have more motivation in the process to proceed and begin your practice. As for those who already know, just continue to diligently practice. During the process of Ngọc Bảo beginning the practice and reciting the Great Compassion Mantra, of course, I also recited some other mantras. After I knew I was cured of the tumor, I started reciting a series of other mantras. But the Great Compassion Mantra remained the main one. During that process, many things around Ngọc Bảo changed. Relationships also improved, including those with people around Ngọc Bảo, like her mother and husband. Previously, they didn't sell, but they didn't believe and felt this was delusional. However, since first seeing Ngọc Bảo cured of the tumor, everyone started to follow, like keeping the Great Compassion Mantra in their pocket but not using it until both Ngọc Bảo mother and husband faced impermanent situations, needing salvation. They took out the Great Compassion Mantra and began to practice reciting it. And from there, they experienced very surprising results. For example, my husband was also infected with hepatitis B, and when he went for a health check, the doctor said that the hepatitis B virus couldn't be cured, only managed with medication to keep it dormant so it wouldn't affect anything, meaning living with the virus. However, after a period of Ngọc Bảo practice, of course, there were many other miraculous experiences related to work or relationships. But in this clip, Ngọc Bảo will only talk about the illness. Recently, Ngọc Bảo has been reciting continuously. And on the day of the recent checkup, which was about a year later, the doctor said the hepatitis B virus was completely gone. This is something Western medicine can't do. You may know that in Vietnam, many people have hepatitis B with the virus, mostly in a dormant state. However, to completely eliminate the hepatitis B virus, no Western medicine can do it. This must be affirmed. The doctor confirmed that we had to live with it. But recently, we went for a checkup, and the result was negative, with no virus remaining. Recently, her husband experienced a miracle when he practiced with the Great Compassion Mantra, As for my mother, it's not a miraculous recovery, but since she started reciting the Great Compassion Mantra, aside from work-related issues being resolved, her health problems have been referred from Master A to Master B, and from Master B to Master C. This has created many connections that have allowed her to heal gradually, part by part, from the various ailments of old age. Up until now, Ngọc Bảo mother has become very convinced. Only by reciting can one truly understand how miraculous it is, and Ngọc Bảo is certain that it's not just her who has had such an experience. When practicing together, many brothers and sisters share different stories. For example, there was a friend of Ngọc Bảo who was previously addicted, but somehow he came across the Great Compassion Mantra book and just read it a few times. Then suddenly, after that, he naturally felt nauseous at the sight of drugs, and he no longer felt cravings. Before that, he couldn't quit various drugs like opium and meth. He frequently went in and out of mental health facilities. Now, that friend is dedicated to doing charitable and public service work for society. This shows that the Great Compassion Mantra is incredibly miraculous. It can transform a person from evil to good and has a great energy to resolve karmic obstacles, eliminating the karmic hindrances of the person who recites it. To talk about the Great Compassion Mantra and its miracles, even within Ngọc Bảo own family, there are many stories. However, the clip's duration doesn't allow for more, so Ngọc Bảo will stop here, with the hope that all of you will recite the Great Compassion Mantra. You will never regret it. However, the condition for the Great Compassion Mantra to be effective is wholeheartedness. When you recite, do not harbor any doubts. All phenomena arise from the mind. When you can focus all your energy, then all mantras can be effective. But if you cannot gather your mind, if your mind is scattered everywhere, then nothing can generate the inner strength and divine power needed to unlock the passwords of the mantras. Another factor is that besides reciting the mantra, you need to enhance your merit by doing virtuous deeds to have a merit bag with resources. Then, reciting the mantra will be easier to achieve success. So, I wish you all to have more faith in practicing the Great Compassion Mantra and to attain the experiences like Ngọc Bảo family, as well as all the fellow practitioners around Ngọc Bảo who have experienced it. And if anyone has any questions during the practice, or while practicing methods related to the mantra, you can comment or send a private message to Ngọc Bảo. If time permits, Ngọc Bảo will wholeheartedly share his practice process so that everyone can benefit. To conclude the clip, the press has a statement to reaffirm that the Great Compassion Mantra can cure more than 84,000 illnesses in this world. These are truly sincere words. Please believe and experience it.